Little intro music. I got to up my game here.
Intro music.
Intro music. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, we are joined today by the one, the only Robert Syslo Jr. from Syslo Ventures. Thank you for coming all the way from Miami to join us today, buddy.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So I can introduce you, but I know I'm not going to do you justice.
Okay.
So I'll just share briefly how I know you, and then you can kind of introduce yourself a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
So,
love it.
One of the things that I do is I work with the one of the private health insurance companies. We'll keep them nameless so we don't have to go through too many channels. But our regional director has been very kind to us, and he's brought on Robert to teach us a lot about social media and marketing. And I've been doing professional marketing from a corporate level for about 18 years, but I'm still learning stuff every single week with you, buddy. So thank you for your insights and your input. Why don't you share a little bit about what your focus area, what you consider your area of expertise?
Well, I mean, my whole thing is it's promotion and communication, right? That's all we focus on. We're interested in understanding an individual, interested in understanding a business, helping them communicate better, helping them communicate more effectively into the marketplace. And we do that with videos, we do that with graphics, we do that with websites. I mean, the whole thing is just designed to really elevate somebody and make sure that they blanket the marketplace with every single possible conversation, consideration, objection, whatever, answer that as truthfully as possible upfront for customers. And so that came out of, 17 years of doing advertising and not knowing I was doing advertising up until about 7 years ago. And so that's pretty exciting. My forte is probably video production, but everything else I realized needed to be solved, connected with that. So I studied and dove deep into the promotion arena, and now I'm a branding and promotion guru or expert. I don't like the word guru. Just call me an expert.
I don't know. You're down there in the Miami area, so I don't know that guru vibe might be a bit more for you, because you got that surfing background and all that kind of good stuff. You love the beach.
Yeah, I got the surfing background. I've got the traveler background. I mean, I've lived all over the U.S. as far as China, Latin America, Caribbean. So I've gotten around in my short period of time. My birthday's in like 6 days, so I'm pretty excited.
All right, so I'll make sure to bring that up during our training session next week, unless somebody we all know and love beats me to it, which probably will happen. But if not, I'm going to call him out because he should know better.
Okay.
So you were mentioning that you've been doing this for quite a while. I have to do one piece of housekeeping real quick. I have absolutely no permission to use that intro song, so I want to give a shout out to the guy who actually wrote it. And his name's Adam Jensen. And he's not somebody that a lot of people know about, but some fantastic music for him. So just a quick shout out to Adam Jensen and for letting me use that unknowingly to you. But thanks for letting me use that anyway.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Adam. You're
absolutely Adam Jensen, man. Check him out. He's got some great stuff on YouTube too. So
okay,
that's cool for that. So tell me a little bit more about your particular demographic. Who are you looking to really join up team with from a client or a partnership approach?
I mean, I touch every single industry except anything to do with CBD, marijuana, psychiatry, or pharmaceutical drugs. Everything else is pretty much fair game. Okay. It's mostly entrepreneurs and business owners that are looking to expand. They have sales teams or they don't. They're solopreneurs, or they're large health insurance organizations that are pulling in billions of dollars every single year. So, and we work with all of them. We work with the mom and pop, and we work all the way up to the big boys. So anybody that just wants to improve their reach, anybody that wants to improve or debug their marketing issues and really get a solid communication out there that solves problems, doesn't confuse people or kind of contradict itself, that's what I'm here for.
Right, perfect. So yesterday I was in one of these sessions, and we'll say that's one of these big health insurance companies you were just talking about. Right? So you were mentioning the topic of podcasts, and this was a perfect opportunity to say, hey, you want to be on there as an expert? Hey, this is your absolute opportunity to step in there and do that. And now the clientele that I have, or the target audience, my demographic for this particular podcast is small business owners, right?
Okay.
So that's really what I speak to. This is what we call the Small Business Spotlight with the Lucid Pros organization, which is my side company here. And we use that to give small businesses the platform sometimes. And we also use that to bring in experts to speak to those small business owners and kind of help them navigate the waters. I have a heart for small businesses because they have tremendous products and services, but a lot of times they don't know how to get their message out there. And that's
Right.
what you're here for. That's what people like me are out here for. So
Right.
utilizing a lot of your area of expertise there, and you said you work with that small mom and pop. What are some of the advice that you give to them, especially when they're starting out?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of, when you're just beginning something, I mean, you're entering into a new space where you're already going up against established people, or there might be some hesitation to want to communicate or go out there and talk about those things. So really, we don't focus on what anybody else is doing at the beginning, or even when you're kicking, like when you're really running and doing well. There really is no point to compare yourself or look at or study or analyze the competition. I'm a firm believer that that's just a huge waste of production time, when I could rather be reinforcing my business, creating new content, getting content out there, and getting that distributed. The other thing that we do is we really identify, what is that? And I don't want to use the word unique, and I don't want to use the word value proposition. I don't want to use the word transparency. I don't want to use the word authenticity. What I'm really looking for is, okay, like who is this individual that's directly in front of me right now? Because if I like this person, and this person is worthy of trust, and this person is an ethical individual, and this person communicates and solves my problem, I will probably buy from him. I mean, I've heard stories where, people will go to the big boys, the big guys, and they have a horrible experience. They're thrown into a cookie cutter setup. They're churned out, and then they're done. And they have a horrible experience from that. See, small business owners have a unique advantage of being more of a boutique type of a thing.
Right.
And when I used to hear people say boutique, I used to think of antique shops. I don't know why, but now I'm like, okay, well, like it's like going to a more privatized one-on-one experience that I don't get when I go with a large conglomerate. Now, I'm not knocking large conglomerates, because I think we're all working to be a huge organization. And so, the whole principle really comes back to, all right, let's just analyze, what do we have directly in front of us? We may not have millions of dollars to spend in marketing. We may not have fancy things to show off. Not that that's even important. It doesn't even matter, but we really do a deep dive on those pieces of why that individual started his company. Obviously, there was an idea. Obviously, he saw a problem spot, or what I like to call as an illogical thing that's taking place inside of the industry that he's in. And he found a logical solution for it. And using that logic, now we transmit that same communication back out through marketing, and that's how you distinguish yourself. But the best part is that it's coming from that person, right? So, I mean, somebody asked me this on a podcast the other day. We're like, well, I mean, hasn't everything already been done? I said, well, that's a very unique viewpoint. And the way that I think about that is that, yeah, in a way it probably has, but if I'm going to do something that's going to change the setup or change the system, I mean, somebody had to start somewhere. So, I mean, the whole idea here is really to look at a way to get people to communicate better with you with what you know, because that's why you're going to build.
You are now speaking my language. One of the things that is one of my areas of expertise is branding. And I used to walk corporations through this, and now I walk a lot of small businesses through what I call a branding workshop. So we actually start by literally taking some Post-it notes like this and writing down on these Post-it notes what they think their key strength or attribute is, forgetting about the marketplace, just thinking about them specifically. And then we start organizing those together into columns or groups that naturally fit together into these categories. And we actually build those from a brand perspective. These are the pillars that form your brand. Like me, my personal brand is, I'm here to help. I take that same consulting approach that you were just talking about, because I don't want to sell commodity type products. I don't want to say, here's my shelf, pick what you want and choose from it. I want to say, hey, let's figure out where you are, let's figure out what your strengths are, and then let's see how we can align those to the challenges that are out there in the marketplace right now, just like you were talking about. There's a logical need, you have a logical solution, let's figure out how to marry those together. So now you're speaking my language, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and it needs to go that way, and we go even further. Like it's not even 5 or 6 things; it's probably 100 different things, maybe more, that needs to be you know, dissected, exposed, communicated on, explored it over and over again in different ways and different angles. Because I mean, as a salesperson, when you're in a conversation with somebody, I mean, you're listening for those items that need to be
Mhm.
addressed. And I would hear this a lot with, you know, salespeople where they would do these hour and a half long presentations. And I'm like, first of all, what business
Before
owner
you
has,
even know your market, right?
that's right. So then I'm like, well, what business owner has an hour and a half to spend on, I don't want to sit through an hour and a half pitch. Like I
Mhm.
got pitched a product, I think maybe 3 weeks ago. It's
Yeah.
for an app. I had no idea. Like I was just being talked to. I had no idea how it was going to work for my business. I had no idea how it was going to help me. I had no idea what it was doing. I had no idea the whole time. I'm like, so what is this? And I think I had to ask it 5 or 6 times. So when you can pick off all these little subtopics, and then
Mhm.
you start using that inside of your marketing, and you do that over and over and over and over and over and over again. Okay, this guy may not buy today, but he's watching.
Right.
Okay. I had a client, you know, I left my other job. About a year and a half went by. We just signed him up last month. I
Mhm.
worked with him in the past. I couldn't work with him because of my non-compete, but they've been watching. And then that
Right.
comes in as extra income. So the way that I approach marketing is I look at it like that. I'm doing a long-term play. I'm doing a long-term.
Mhm.
Is it tough at the beginning? Absolutely. You just got to turn on the nitrous and promote. And you got to keep doing it. You know, 200 videos probably isn't going to do it. You know, it's got to be years of just dedication to building the
Right.
brand and building the brand and getting
Consistency.
on podcasts and getting back on and communicating more and doing it again and doing it again, you know?
Absolutely. So you've mentioned a couple of different avenues or a couple of different marketing mediums that you can use. What do you typically suggest for a marketing mix or a strategy mix of, say, taking your social media profiles, taking videos, taking all these different areas of publication?
Yeah, I mean, I use them all, right? So I focus on the main ones. I mean, I really focus on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube and Twitter. And I mean, you know, people are like, "Oh, Twitter's dead." I'm like, "Twitter made me $5 grand last month. Don't tell me Twitter's dead. It's awesome." You know, so and that was like off of something that had nothing to do with my company, had
Right.
nothing to do with my business, had nothing to do with me asking somebody to buy a product. It was actually of my new computer setup that I bought that I thought was really geeky and cool, and that
Yeah.
turned into a sale for me. So what mechanism do you use? Videos, articles, posts, pictures, selfies, all of that stuff. But then we're looking at it from a different viewpoint of like, okay, it doesn't always have to be about the business. It doesn't always have to be about buying a product. I very, very, very rarely ask people to go to a website
Right.
or a landing page. I think maybe once or twice a month, I will be like, okay, I want you to actually go to this.
Right.
But otherwise, it's just I'm promoting and promoting and feeding and feeding and promoting because I know I'm being watched. I know I'm being observed. I see my metrics going. I track all the stats. I track all my income. And so as long as I know, I'll back up a second. The physical action of actually doing it is more important than anything else.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, people could get on you and be like, oh, you only have X amount of followers. Da, da, da. Like, it's like, yeah, dude, it takes one to make me $5,000 today.
Right.
How much money did you make today? Nothing. Yeah, I made 5K because one of the 5 people that liked my damn post paid me. Thank you very much. You know,
So all 10 of the people who are watching this right now, you heard it here first.
it only takes 1 or 2 people. Like even go smaller, $300, $200. If somebody pays you $200 right now, I think we'd be pretty happy. We'd be
Yeah.
like, that's incredible. Like when you really get down to the logic of it, and you do that twice a day, that's 400 a day. You do that times 7 days, that's $2,800 a week. You do that times 3, that's over $7,000 a month. Like, come on.
Right.
You know, that's more than our $1,200 stimulus check that's supposed to pay our bills, pay the, you know, whatever. So you just get into the numbers game and you really just look at it. All right, Facebook, yeah, those are all vehicles. But the action is what the most important thing is like, am I communicating enough?
You just touched on something very important that I haven't, I wouldn't say I've been preaching it to people lately, but I'm really trying to drive the point home. A lot of the small businesses that I talk to say, "Oh, I don't have the available capital to invest in that right now." And my response to them is, "You don't have the time not to, right? It's an opportunity cost. It's your return on your investment. What are you missing out on because you're not investing in stuff like that?" Those are the types of conversations that I'm having with people on that front.
Yeah, and I mean, look, when I left my employee job,
Yep.
I I went dark on social media for like 6 months and I couldn't promote, I couldn't talk about anything. My hands were basically tied and I'm like, what am I going to do? So I tried 2 other business ventures. They both failed and ended up costing me over $50,000 to me after the fact because it was a bad decision. And I didn't even know I had 50 grand to actually handle that situation, but I got it done. And, so, I mean, that's a new problem to have, right? Oh, I have a $50,000 problem, not a $200 problem. So anyway, and I'm sure this, and I'm not, and they get bigger as you go. Now it's like 3 times that for me right now, but it's exciting. Anyway, the point of that communication was that, I just had to start talking and I couldn't talk about my main source of revenue. I had to talk about what I knew. I had to talk about my experiences. I talked about my life. I showed what I did. And it was down to the wire. I was down to my last $1,000, I think. And, rent was due in, I don't know, a week or the next week. And I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to do here? My rent was $3,500 or $3,300. So I just started promoting more. Next thing I knew, I made $3,500. I paid my rent. I was like, wow. Then I did it again. And then in less than 7 days or 2 weeks, in 7 days, it was like 15 grand. And I was like, oh my God, that was my monthly income. That was over my monthly income at my last job. Right. I made it in 6 days. Insane. And the best part is it was all profit.
Yeah.
There was no expense. Okay. I paid my rent, but I kept 12,000 of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started to look at myself and I said, dude, okay, how do I keep replicating this? So then I reinforced it. And then we scaled the company to about 150 in about 60 days, which was insane. Like we're talking like, I don't know how, and the other side of it is I don't know how well I'm doing because I don't have a barometer to gauge it. Like I don't have another company to be like, all right, I'm doing bad or I'm doing better than, because I just don't look at it. I got to keep running to the end of the road, which is years down the line.
Right.
But coming back to the main point, it doesn't matter if you have $0. It doesn't matter if you've never done it before. It doesn't matter if you don't know what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you don't have a Ferrari. It doesn't matter if you don't have a jet. All that matters is that you have the ability to talk, number one. You know your product, you know your service, and you're committed to it. If you're that committed to those things, because otherwise, why else would you be in business? The more that you solve problems and talk about that, that's where people have the opportunity to do business with you. And it's more than the business. I showcased everything about me. And that's where people were like, oh, Robert's got a dog. Oh, Robert does this. Oh, Robert. Da, 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 da. And then now I've got reality points that people can, I'm a human. I'm relatable. Like even if you may not like me, there's still things about me that you're like, yeah, okay, I get that, so.
See, what you're talking about now is what I refer to as the overall brand, right? Mm-hmm. A brand is actually what you're engaging with. It's a feeling that you get whenever you think about a specific thing. If I think about, and I'm gonna throw some names out there. If I think about McDonald's, I have an association with McDonald's. The brand is how I feel about it and whether or not I'm going to recommend it to somebody else or if I want to take my kids there to play on the playground, right? I had a really bad experience on the playground. I'm going to say, no, let's not take our kids to McDonald's to play on the playground, right? That type of thing is an association with the brand. And by opening yourself up on all these other areas besides just your sales pitch is letting people relate to that. So this is a public service announcement to all of you internet marketers out there and salespeople that only want to do a sales pitch over and over and over again. Please don't do that. I don't want to follow
overdone. We're so anesthetized to it. I tune it out. I actually block it because I'm like, well, I don't even know you. I know guys that would start a company out of nowhere and start asking people to like buy. And I'm like, this is a huge violation of promotion. It's a violation of trust. There's so many violations in there that I literally, I want promotion to do 2 things. I want it to solve a problem for you, a few things. I want it to educate you about me. And I also want it to be pretty easy for you to experience. I don't want it to be this thing where you're like, another one, another email, another post, another thing, another webinar, another geez.
What's Robert doing now?
Yeah. So if you're creating that kind of an effect on your audience, now I know people will probably disagree with me on that, but that's not what I want to create. I want it when Robert comes on, it's like, I know I'm going to get something from him. It's either going to be funny or it's going to be educational.
Or it's going to be something we can take home and make fun of him on our Zoom chat rooms and happy hour.
Yeah, whatever, do my hair, whatever, what you guys do. But again, it's easy for you to be like, it's a pleasurable thing that you can move through without going through. And that's where I started to see issues with promotion. You just said it, buy a product. Okay, why? All right, I'm transparent. In relation to what? Okay, we're the most authentic company. In relation to what? What does that mean? So if you're not asking those questions of the people that you follow or the people that you watch, you're missing really the purpose of what promotion actually is. And so if you're a small business and you're listening to this, you've got your big boys, you got your middle boys, and you have you. And you are going to be able to go to all those different strata in the realm of business. But along the way, if you can keep that experience easy to go through, I mean, you'll always remain like that core, oh, I like this, So it's mindful and some people will be like, no, just hit them. Just do it. Hey, there's a time and a place for that. Totally for it. Time and a place. I do it too. There's a time and a place. It's not every second of the day.
Not every second of the day. So you hit on a good point about giving some practical actions for our small business folks that are going to be listening to this. So the number one thing that I hear back from them, the number one piece of feedback is, I don't have time. I'm spending 18 hours a day working, just trying to manage what I have. And I said, well, then you're doing pretty good, or you're not scaling properly. So what piece of advice can you give them about, I don't know, scheduling time to do marketing, or what does that look like for promotion for them? Or what piece of advice can you give them to get started on their own? Even if it's just, hey, find a source for it.
I mean, I'll just tell you, I'll give you a typical example of my day. Okay. I'll wake up, I post, I wake up, and then I have a cup of coffee. I do a video. I walk to my office. I do an Instagram story. I sit down. I showcase what I'm about to do. Then I do a meeting like yesterday. I'll give you Wednesday. I'm in meetings from 9:30 in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't leave this chair except to have a drink of water and get another cup of coffee. Otherwise, I'm here talking to people, but I'm still promoting. I'm still going. I'm still doing all this posting stuff. I do it as I do it. Okay. Right. Now, then on top of that, I've got clients I got to service. I got ads I got to make. I mean, we're making 50 to 60 video ads a week. You name a production company that can do that. I don't think and we only have we have 2 editors, including myself, that are producing this much. That's how fast we are and effective at it. But I'm promoting all through it. And then I get finished. At the beginning, it's odd. At the beginning, you're like, because you don't have enough understanding of your own product and service yet. See, promotion has this weird thing where it says, it forces you to know your game really well. And if you don't know your game, it'll make you go back and analyze that to make sure you can talk. See, promoters, I love the people that promote a lot, but promote what they're doing, not buying, but they're very open. I shouldn't have to tell you I'm transparent. You should just kind of see it, I think. And so, at the beginning it's tough because there's not enough understanding. So you work with somebody like me, or you just pick up the phone and start going. You start writing, you work it out. At the beginning, my first video was garbage. I remember I was in my Jeep. It was right when Periscope came out. I put it on my dash and I just was like, I don't know. What am I going to do? Fast track to where are we now? 5.5 years later. And it's like video. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm saying. On my story, it just goes up. But again, that's part of my character, right?
Transparency. You got it right here, folks.
It's me. If you were here with me during the day, we would have that experience. Right. The way that I talk to you is the way I talk to everybody that's around me, or even my friends. There's no difference there.
And for all the people out there who are wondering, why am I drinking coffee so much during this, is because I'm trying to match his energy. It's hard. It's hard, folks.
Yeah, it's funny, dude. I wake up and I'll turn it off at 1 a.m., go to sleep, wake up and do it again.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's crazy.
But yeah. I think you actually touched on a brilliant point there. If you're actually recording what you're doing, you're sharing your business with people naturally. You're showing them how you engage with other customers. You're showing where your areas of expertise are. You're showing a lot of things about your business that you're not actually having to put together in storyline and everything else. You're giving them an inside track to who you are as a brand and your areas of expertise. How can that be a bad thing?
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're on the Zoom. I'm streaming on Instagram right now, although my internet doesn't look like it has good connectivity. But the other side of I don't care though. It is what it is. It's going to go out. Okay, whatever. It's a piece of content. It's done. Absolutely. So that's how I look at it. Again, I only need 1 or 2 people. Dude, that was a great interview. I loved everything you said. Awesome. Hey, what's your business? Oh, I do blah, blah, blah. What are you doing for promotion? Nothing. Really? Tell me about that. Boom. Now I got a deal. See, that's how it goes. You know, if you're making $3,000 to $4,000 a day, that's like 90 grand a month. Okay. If you're making $10,000, I mean, look at the numbers.
Yeah.
See, that's how I think. I'm like, promotion comes back around to the numbers. And I'm an artist, I'm a creative, but I think about my numbers all the time, financially speaking. So,
Right.
you know, it does give you an insight into who you are, and it should. There shouldn't be like this persona. I mean, I remember guys out there like, we gotta plan this out, we gotta do this, we gotta write it out, gotta figure this out. I'm like, we have no money, we can't pay the rent, we don't have food, you're worried about Excel, you're worried about Microsoft Word documents, we should be promoting it on the phone and trying to get business. We will build this as we grow.
There you go.
And we will handle this as we go, but I don't want to go to
Hard
bed.
hats and lunch buckets, people.
That's right. I don't want to go to sleep tonight worrying about my rent or my food or anything. I want to be like, dude, I made $5 grand today. That's a great day. Okay, I'm going to now. I deserve to work in Microsoft Excel.
You're speaking. You're hitting a little home to me right now because I actually have a friendly wager with somebody I work with. And whoever writes the most business this week is going to win the wager. Where the wager is, I either get to enjoy a nice sugar cookie decorated like a Dallas Cowboy so I can ingest and just show my dominance, or it's going to be shoved in my face tomorrow. Depends on who wins, right?
There you go.
So I need to get off this so I can go start making some calls and get some of these things done because I'm losing and I don't like to lose. Before we drop off though, let me ask you a question. You say you don't really pay attention to too much to what other people are doing, but I'm sure you at least see what's going on around you. What is one of your pet peeves about how people promote and things that just drives you absolutely crazy? What should we stay away from?
One of my pet peeves that drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I don't like I don't like promotions that, or quotes or things that are, how do I put this? Like, if it confuses me, or if it's antagonistic, or it's trying to make you seem better than me, I really question your true motivation of why you're in business as an ethical individual.
Okay.
And when I see that, the credibility for that individual is non-existent.
So it's
I don't care if
it
was done even as I don't even care if it's done as a joke. Like I joke, like I definitely like to laugh. I'm not a stuck guy, but my biggest pet peeve is when we start moving into the antagonism realm and we start in that kind of like, I'm better than, you're this, or controversy or gossip or spreading what somebody else is doing. Like none of that helps me. None of that. I don't care. Okay. When I see that, I lose a lot of credibility and a lot of respect for the individual doing it. Okay. And I've actually gotten rid of people on social media who I respected, and then they started doing this stuff. And I'm like, wow, I don't even know what that is, but don't need it. And my brain is better for it.
Right.
So, yeah.
You are what you eat, right? And
pretty much.
Sometimes you eat with your eyes, sometimes you eat with your ears. It's what are you ingesting?
Yep.
I have a good friend. He says, whatever you feed grows and whatever you starve dies.
That's right.
So what are you feeding into yours right now? So we're gonna just respect your time because I know you got a ton of things going on right now. Is there any last closing thoughts that you want to leave us with today?
I mean, really, just to kind of piggyback off of what you said, I protect my time and I protect my space and I protect my attention. So if somebody comes into the space and they're being an idiot, they're gone. If somebody comes into the space and they're trying to change or, jab or whatever, just get rid of it. If somebody comes into the space and they're sending out non-factual altered information that does not give results, they're gone. Because I fact-checked everything that everybody says to me. And it's a little, some people are like, that's a little extreme. I'm like, well, no, I'm really, because I've gotten into trouble because I didn't do that. I listened instead of just asked.
And, and if you pass that information on, now it's associated with your brand and you want to be credible.
That's right. So I feed my mind. I mean, I'm a Scientologist, so I study works on how to improve my business, how to promote better, how to serve better, how to be a better person, how to be a better boss, how to be a better leader, how to service my clients better. I mean, I'm kind of a tech geek, so I'll watch, I'll watch some other stuff like video game stuff, computer stuff, and then I'll go surfing. Like, it's just, my space is my space. And you can really, as a small business owner, kind of put the blinders on to really who you are. You're going to have a lot more fun. It actually is a lot more fun because you're allowing yourself just to exist. And people love that. They're like, oh, this guy's cool. And
That's
that's
one
what you
of
want for your brand.
Yeah, that's one of the things that kind of changed my mind frame here in the last say year or so. Is we've learned so much. Hey, you got to fix your weaknesses and build your foundation there. And I've pretty much abandoned that philosophy completely and said, yeah, well, you still need some sort of certain level and balance, but focus on your strengths. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you unique. And that's where we should be really promoting ourselves, our personal brands, as well as our business brands. So thank you for having us. Thank you for joining us today, not for having us on, because it's too much coffee, man.
You're welcome. It's all good.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
no, I appreciate it. And I'll see you next week. Everybody else, tune in next time, and make sure to contact Syslo over here, #Syslo, and I'll put all his contact info there so you can reach out to him on promotion and branding. All right, appreciate
Thanks,
it, buddy.
buddy. Take care.
Yeah, you too.